For today's assignment, we're going to look at number 9 from last night's homework because I'm starting to get some questions from students, and that's really good, and I'm proud of those students for making private comments or emailing me and being very specific about their questions. It's really hard for me to help you out when you just say, I don't understand number 9. But instead, I had 2 students, credit to them, that when they emailed me, or actually they did private comments, they said, I've done the entire elimination, but when I go to check my work, I can't get the right answer because it's not checking. I can't find my mistake. And trust me, when I do these problems, sometimes if I make a mistake, this is actually my second time recording this video because I made a pretty big mistake in this problem the first time. It was just a silly math error. And then I started to do the problem, and of course I got the wrong answer. So then I had to backtrack, and I just decided it would be best to start the video over again. And the other student was questioning, well, what if, do I multiply by 2 or do I multiply by 3? What do I multiply by? And that's the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to show you that it doesn't matter. There are a lot of options. I'm going to show you the way that I would do this problem, but then I'm going to show you some other different options, and you're going to have a lot of tools and things to think about, because eventually when we get to the test, it'll just tell you to solve using any method you wish. So you just have to find what works for you, but it's also important you know how to do all of the methods in case your favorite method is not available as a good option. So here we go. If I was doing this problem, I would multiply everything by -3. So then I do my distributive property, and I end up with, and I always rewrite it just underneath here, I would end up with -3x. Now this is where I messed up. I messed up a sign here. This is a common mistake. -3 times -2y becomes a positive 6y. And then -3 times +3 is -9. Right, so when I add these together, my x's cancel out because they are opposite, and that's elimination. -y plus 6y becomes 5y. And then 2 and -9 combine to get a -7. So now when I divide by 5, I'm going to get an answer, if you did this on your calculator, of a -1.4. And this is definitely one of those questions where you're going to need a calculator available. So now that is step 1. Step 2, I'll come over here and I would plug that in. So now I have x minus 2 times -1.4 equals 3. So if I multiply those together, it becomes a positive because I have 2 negatives. So that becomes x plus, and again, take your calculator, make sure you don't make a mistake. 2 times 1.4 is 2.8. And that equals 3. Again, those negatives canceled. So when I subtract, and I get x equals 0.2. So that was step 1 over here. Here's step 2. Step 3, we write our answer, 0.2, comma, -1.4. And that's why graphing this one would not work. You could never figure out that it's 0.2 and -1.4 when graphing. So now, especially because I have decimals here, I would definitely want to make sure I'm checking this with both problems. So we want to make sure that this works. So we have 0.2 minus 2 times negative 1.4 equals 3. And we already did that first part, so 0.2 plus 2.8 equals 3. So that checks. We knew the first one was going to check. 3 equals 3. And now, you always got to go and check the second one too to make sure it works. So my second problem is 3 times x, which is 0.2, minus our y, which is negative 1.4, and that's going to equal 2. So now I take my calculator again. 3 times 0.2 is 0.6. And then these two negatives here become a positive 1.4. And it has to equal 2. Well, 1.4 and 0.6 does equal 2. So it checks. So despite the fact that we had a decimal, we have a good answer. So that's one way to do it. I'm going to show you another way to do it, and then we're going to speed it up a little bit. Another way to do this would be to take this problem here and add 2y to both sides. If I add 2y to both sides, I get x equals 2y plus 3. And now that lets me do a substitution. Even though this says use elimination in the homework, I'm just showing you that there's always another way to do this. It just so happens because x is by itself, it makes this a good option to do substitution as well. It's not always there. But here's where I see some people making mistakes. This 3 has to distribute to everything. It is 3 times the quantity, 2y plus 3. Then I subtract y, and that equals 2. Now I'm down to one variable. So I substituted an x for an equivalent y. That was your checking question today. And now I'm going to distribute, and I'm going to get 6y plus 9. That's 3 times 2y is 6y, 3 times 3 is 9, minus y equals 2. So again, quick simplify step, 5y plus 9 equals 2, subtract 9, 5y equals negative 7. And actually, if we go back up here, look what we had here. I now have 5y equals negative 7. Look what I had up here. 5y is negative 7. So again, if I were to divide by 5, y equals negative 1.4. So again, I've gotten the right answer. And then I would go back just like we did up here, and I would take that and substitute in. But I'm just showing you there, that's far enough on this problem, but obviously you would have to do step 2, you would have to do step 3, you would have to do step 4, but they're the same as what you have going on up here. Okay. And now, why did I do this problem 5 times? So I did an elimination, I did a substitution. There's other options. I could multiply both of these by 3. The whole thing here by 3. And that gives me 3x minus 6y equals 9. Now, why would I do this? This was tricky, so you need to be careful. I'm going to star this one. You might want to watch me do this and then never do this again, because this is the way that I never do it, but it's possible that you can do it this way. So now, because these match, if I were to subtract them, they would disappear. 3x minus 3x is 0. So they cancel. But this is where it's tricky because you have negative y minus a negative 6y. So when I'm minusing a negative, that's going to become a positive. So I have negative y plus 6y, which becomes a positive 5y. And 2 minus 9 is negative 7. So wait a minute here. 5y equals negative 7. And yet again, I'm back to where I needed to be. So that's the third way to do it. Could also do the problem if I wanted to eliminate the y's. So if I multiplied this problem here, everything by negative 2, and I rewrote it, so now I would have negative 6x, almost wrote y there, negative 6x plus 2y equals negative 4. And then just because I'm going to rewrite this problem down here, so this is negative 6x, positive 2y, negative 4. I'm just going to rewrite this problem right here so that they are together. And when I add them together, I now have negative 5y, negative 5x. I'm trying to do that because we've been dealing with y. Negative 5x. These y's cancel, right? So negative 6x plus x, negative 5x. My y's cancel. Negative 4 plus 3. It's negative 1. Divide each side by negative 5. X equals a positive 0.2. And if we go back all the way up to the first problem, right here is my positive 0.2. It's another way to do it. And then, of course, the last way to do it, I could multiply this side just by 2. Now if I multiply this by 2, now I have 6x minus 2y equals 4. So now I'll rewrite this problem here just like I did above. X minus 2y equals 3. So now since these are the same, I would have to subtract them, not add them. So when I subtract 6x minus x is 5x, negative 2y minus the negative 2y, that becomes positive, so that's going to cancel. So that's 0y. 4 minus 3 equals 1. That simplifies again to 5x equals 1 divided by 5. X equals 1 divided by 5 is 0.2. So I just did this problem 5 different ways for you. I only finished it the first time, but you need to realize that all of these finishes would be the same. Of course, down here, now that I would have the 0.2, I would plug that back in. So I would have 0.2 minus 2y equals 3. So I would subtract the 0.2, negative 2y equals 2.8. And then I would divide by negative 2. And y equals negative 1.4. And we come up here. And again, y equals negative 1.4. So we end up with the 0.2, negative 1.4. So I hope this is helpful. You have to just pick the method that works best for you. And that is all for today.